Now let's have a real conversation about what it really means to be a high level agency owner. Because everyone talks about starting an online business, but what does that really mean, right? What is involved? Now, when people think high level, maybe they're thinking that it's just something about setting up some slick funnels or turning on some AI automation and watching the money pour in. But the reality is significantly different. You see, owning a high level agency is much deeper than that. It's about taking responsibility for other people's businesses' growth, right? It's about building something that frees you up from your 9 to 5, but demands that you step up as an entrepreneur. And so that's why we're having this conversation, because I want to make sure that you understand what's needed and the challenges that you're going to face as a new entrepreneur, taking on the challenge of a high level agency business. We'll talk about some of the challenges, some misconceptions, but as well as the rewards, and why high level isn't just a tool, but it's really an engine for building freedom. So tell your brain right now, stick with me until the end, because what you're about to hear could completely change the way you see business ownership. Now, here's the part no one wants to say out loud. Being a high level agency owner is not glamorous at first. You won't be sitting on a beach in Bali slipping mojitos while automations magically run your entire life and your business. That Instagram version of entrepreneurship is, frankly, it's a lie. The reality, you're solving real problems, and there's satisfaction to that. You see, every day for every single client that you have. You see, you're the person they call when their leads stop flowing. You're the person they text when their pipeline feels empty. You're the one that they look to when they're spending money on ads and nothing comes back. So here's the thing. When you own a high level agency, you accept that responsibility because their growth is tied to your execution. Now, don't let that scare you one bit, because responsibility is also an opportunity. You see, when you step into this role, you're not just pressing buttons, you're becoming the trusted growth partner for businesses that desperately need your help. And what's the reward then for you? Freedom. But here's the paradox. Freedom doesn't come from chaos. It comes from structure. So the more discipline you have in running your agency, the more freedom you'll eventually unlock. And it's not about doing everything. It's about setting up the right systems and having the mindset to execute them all the way through. But here's the catch. You can't do it without the right engine. And that's where high level actually comes in. Now, note, I am an affiliate for High Level. So if you choose to use any of my links to sign up, I may earn a commission. But that just helps me being able to bring more and more content to you through these free channels like YouTube. As a result, I encourage you to also listen closely and apply what you learn, because action beats passive inaction. So, when you're thinking about what's your next step, take action. You should always be in that mode, especially as an entrepreneur. Now, I provide no guarantees of your success. What you put in is what you're going to get out. All right. Now think about this. When you decide to open up an agency, really there's a couple options, right? The first one is duct tape a dozen different tools that don't really make sense and don't talk to each other. And maybe you're coming up with another tool that ties everything together, right? You have a CRM tool, an email tool. You have one tool for funnels, or maybe that one does a couple other things for you. You have scheduling, and then another one for tracking. And then you package all this up, and it's basically a menu of different logos that you offer a customer. It looks like a tech Frankenstein, right? Drains your money. It drains your wallet, eats your time. We don't want to do that. Instead, that's where high level comes into play, because high level is not just another tool. It's a vehicle. You're the driver, but high level is the engine that powers everything. It can create CRM all built in, funnels all built in, websites, automations, email campaigns, AI tools, and now even inbound voice. All these things in a single platform really help. And the beauty of being a high level agency owner is that you're not just selling software, right? You're building on it. You're identifying specific niche services that your customers need. And then you're layering services, offers, and expertise on top of that engine. Maybe you start with a core base and then you identify other services that you can then upsell that don't cost you more, but provide significant value to your client. And you can provide that either as a free option if it's minor and doesn't take up too much time, or as an upsell, which is why I recommend for an incremental increase, right? And now you're starting to make more and more money all with the services that Highlevel offers. And so this is where one of my favorite business principles come into play. And it's what Alex Hormozi calls the value equation. Because your clients are paying for outcomes, right? They want the dream result, how fast you can deliver it, and how little effort it takes them to reap out the value and get the effort and get the outcomes out of it. Highlevel allows you to increase all three: faster delivery, less effort, and better results without adding more cost on your end. And so that's the leverage. And that's really what separates a freelancer with tools from a true agency owner. Now, here's the part that nobody warned you about. At the beginning, you'll be wearing every hat, right? That's why we're called expert hats. We understand that you're going to be tackling a lot of different challenges. And so our goal here at Expert Hats and GHL Money Labs by Expert Hats is to help you be able to take on those roles and be able to make sure that you're streamlining your normal operating rhythm on a day-to-day basis so that you can be the most efficient at it. And then at that point, that translates to be making more money. Because some of the hats that you'll be wearing, you'll be the strategist, the marketer, the operator. If you're a one-man show, you're also the tech setup person. You're the sales rep, the customer service rep, all rolled into one, right? That's a lot. But when you're building something, it's important to take on and understand each of these roles. So one day you're building out a client's funnel. The next you're on Zoom walking them through how to use their dashboard. The day after that, you're cold messaging leads on LinkedIn or Alignable or Facebook or Google, or you're going into networking and traditional meetings. Again, check out my prospect video for that. And all trying to land your next contract. And that's okay. Because in the early stages, you're learning every side of the business. You're figuring out what you're good at and what you want to eventually outsource to others, right? Now, fast forward, as you grow, you'll be able to delegate. Maybe you bring on a virtual assistant to handle onboarding. Maybe you hire a closer to handle sales calls. Maybe you outsource funnel builds while you focus on client strategy to a high-level certified professional. But until that point, you are the business. And if you can embrace that reality, you'll survive the hardest part and build something worth keeping. Because let's cut straight to it. The hardest part of owning a high-level agency isn't the funnels. It isn't the automation. Heck, it isn't even keeping up with all the new AI tools and features. It's getting leads. There's no pipeline without leads. Without leads, no pipeline. Without pipeline, you have no sales. And without sales, you have no business. So this is the graveyard where new agencies often die. They spend months perfecting their logo, their website, their dashboard, and all that time nobody even knows they exist. As Alex Hormozi put it in his book, $100 Million Leads, if you're under $1 million in revenue, your biggest problem isn't your product, it's obscurity. That's the killer, obscurity. The cure, prospecting, right? And so prospecting is the lifeblood of your agency. It's reaching out every single day through cold email, cold direct messages and DMs, content, creating content, networking, whatever it takes to talk to people who could become future clients. Now, here's the good news. Highlevel has built-in tools to help you with all of that. The new prospecting tool lets you identify businesses that need your help. The AI features help you scale your outreach without sounding robotic. And the website audit widget, well, that thing is a game changer. Drop on your site and suddenly businesses are generating their own marketing audits. And those audits turn into leads for you. Don't ignore the old school methods either. Walk into businesses, print flyers, go to networking events, tap your existing contacts. Obscurity doesn't care how you fight it. It only cares that you do. Because once you beat obscurity, you've cracked the hardest part about being a high-level agency owner. And so for more information on prospecting, check out my video specifically on prospecting in the link below. Now, here's the thing when you are a high-level agency owner. There's a specific mindset to being successful. The tools will only take you so far. And it's mindset that's what's going to help carry you the rest of the way. So if you want to succeed as a high-level agency owner, you need to think long-term. That means focusing on recurring revenue instead of just one-off projects. Don't just sell a funnel build and walk away. Package it with ongoing management, lead nurturing, and marketing automation. That's where real stability comes from. You also need to reframe complaints. So you see, when a client says, this isn't quite working, you might get frustrated. That might be your instinct. But if you pivot and switch it to curiosity, that's going to change everything, because every complaint then becomes an opportunity to diagnose, improve, as well as strengthen your offer, and that's going to be key. And above all else, you need to understand that you're not just running tech, you're running a business. And that's a mindset shift. You're no longer just a doer, you're an owner. And ownership means accountability, decision-making, and resilience. Now, because the truth is, high-level agencies thrive on leverage. Automations allow you to serve dozens of clients without doubling your workload or your costs in many instances. But leverage only matters if you think like a business owner. So, let's clear up some misconceptions. We got to clear the air on this. Now, the first misconception that oftentimes I'll get asked, is it passive income? Unfortunately, no. You see, in the beginning, it's the opposite. You'll work harder than you think, but over time, with the right systems, it can create significant leverage and freedom so that you can get that monthly recurring revenue that you need. Now, the second misconception that I often hear is that the platform does everything for you. And as powerful as Highlevel is, it's not going to do everything for you. It's not a magic wand. You need to put together a strategy, you need to create clear offers, and then you need to come up with a way to drive traffic to your business. The misconception number 3, clients will just come in. They won't. You're obscure. You need an engine, a sales engine, a process for consistent outreach, follow-up, and closing. And here's the truth. Highlevel is a tool, but you are the business. Don't confuse those two things. There's a significant difference in it. Now that we talked through some of the challenges, let's talk about why people stick with it. Because once you put in the work, the rewards are real. Now imagine this. You've set up your systems. You've built out all the automations that run client campaigns while you sleep. Your pipeline is now consistent and your churn is low. You're no longer losing clients. At this point, you're not just making money, you're making impact. Small businesses are surviving and thriving because of the work that you are doing. And let's be honest, that feels really good and satisfying. But it doesn't stop there. The scalability is endless. You can add retainer packages, you can upsell templates, you can white label additional services. You can even train others and create your own programs as such. You see, at its core, being a high-level agency owner gives you the most valuable currency of all, choice. The freedom to choose your clients, the freedom to choose your lifestyle, and the freedom to choose your future. And that's why all the struggle is worth it. So, what does it mean to be a high-level agency owner? It means stepping up into entrepreneurship, not just playing with software. It means solving real problems for businesses and doing it in a repeatable, scalable way. It means embracing the challenge of obscurity, putting in the work to find clients, and building systems that really give you clear leverage. And ultimately, it means freedom, not the fake Instagram kind, the real kind, the kind that comes from discipline, structure, and ownership. You see, if you're ready to put in the work, Highlevel can be the engine that drives your freedom. Now, again, I'm a Highlevel affiliate. If you choose to use my links, I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. But more importantly, you'll get access to the same tool I use to run my own agency, plus a free trial so you can see if it's right for you. So check out the description for the link, along with some of my favorite templates and workflows to help you get started faster. Now, for more on this and many other money making topics, check out our new community, GHL Money Labs, where we break down and apply key proven frameworks from the $100 million series by Alex Hormozy to small high level agency businesses and their customers, all with the goal of making you successful. Check the link in the description below to find out more. Now, I'm going to leave you with a question then. Leave in the comments below. What struggles are you running into if you're an agency owner? If you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a business today, what's keeping you from taking that next step? What are you struggling with? Leave a comment and leave your situation comments below. I look forward to be able to having a conversation with you.